Islam, I, self-law, and master. For those who want knowledge, this is for you. For those that want to be free, this is for you. We're going to talk about status and law today. But see, those of you who are Asiatic, dark skin, broad nose, full lip, woolly curly hair, if you think that you came over here on a slave boat, you're not going to be able to understand what I'm talking to you about today. If you can get that concept of what the Europeans have miseducated you since childbirth, and your grandparents told them the same thing, that they came over here on a slave boat. If you believe that, you'll never get out of the status of Negro, colored, and black, African American, Christian. You'll always be a minority, incompetent, less than. You'll always be treated like someone who's not a part of this land. All right. But if you study what Noble Drew Ali did, then you would know that you are part and parcel of this land. The European are living off of your wealth, your land, and the people. But today we need to get into law so you can understand how to protect yourself from these Europeans, corporate America. These corporate Europeans occupying your land. Remember, the land has been invaded. They're not American. They're not white. They're European. Get it in your brain. All right? So today, if you was walking down the street and the police want to charge you with some type of crime, whether it's civil or whether it's criminal, when you're talking to these Europeans, you're not talking to people of true law. You're not talking to true law people. You're talking to criminals, corporate slaveholders. Negro, blacks, and colors are slaves for corporate America. You need to get it in your head that you're not free. All right? Now, status is this. Comes from identity, self-identity. Knowledge of self. Who are you? What's your flag look like? What's your seal look like? Do you know what the Constitution stands for? And how does it affect you in your life? How does it free you up? Remember, governments are set in place to secure your inalienable rights. Not to give you rights, but to secure your inalienable rights, your birthright. You understand me? But the schools has miseducated you on what real law is. Because they can't enforce true law. They enforce law on Roman property. Christians is Roman property. Negro, black, and colors is Roman property. Anybody who's in the corporate state is Roman property. If you got a house and you're paying tax on it, you're paying your property. If you got a job and they taking money out of your check, your property. You understand? If you got a car, if you go buy a car and they charge you for taxes, your property. So let me get you to understand what status is. If you go to court, let's say on whatever it is, a ticket, or you've been fighting somebody, whatever the case may be, when you get into the quote-unquote artificiality courts, corporate America, they're not looking at what you did. They're looking at the person. They're looking at who you are. When they ask you your name, they're asking you your identity. Who are you? If you tell them Negro, black, and color, then automatically you got past status. Then he's going to start, he brings you into his jurisdiction. Then he starts to adjudicate you. Remember, most Negro, black, and color go to court. When you first call yourself Black or Smith or Jones or Johnson or Neil or Davis or Brown or Paul, he already passed status. So he brings you to his jurisdiction. Then he starts to adjudicate you about saying what you owe him, how much time you got to pay in jail, or if you're going to be on probation. Anytime they get you on probation, they're going to take money out of your pocket, your compensation, or whatever the fiat note, Federal Reserve note, slave labor notes. You understand me? So the first thing you're going to look at is status. After status is jurisdiction. After jurisdiction, they adjudicate. Then they start to adjudicate. Remember those three: status, jurisdiction, and adjudication. They should never get past status if you know who you are. You know that you're Moorish American. If you know who you are, these Europeans can never get past status. Never going to get past status. You can take them to federal court, district court, world court, because the Europeans cannot enforce law on this continent called America. This is Morocco. They cannot enforce true law. They have to take it to federal court, you know, federal judge for true law. The republic is the real government here. The United States democracy is fraud. It's a fraud government to hold their corporate slaves. You understand? And remember that the slavery was brought from the plantation to the corporation. That's why you always get a birth certificate at the child's birth. You need a driver's license on your land, marriage certificate. All these certificates goes to the Department of Orphanages. You understand? So you're orphan. You have abandoned your rights. You have abandoned your animal rights. You have abandoned your land. You have abandoned your home. You have abandoned your children. And that's why they come in your house and take control of you, because you think that you got a birth certificate. You think you're all right. These people are fraudulent. They're frauds, criminals. You understand? So you need to understand status, jurisdiction, and adjudication. Remember the Dred Scott case. Dred Scott, the brother. Remember what happened. He fought for his freedom for about 10 years when he was with his so-called European master, so-called owner. They brought him from so-called slave state to Illinois and to another free state following his master, because his so-called master was a doctor working with these European armies, and he was a so-called slave for his master. They brought him to a free state. So he got married, and so he started to look to, at that time it was okay to apply for your freedom. But every time he went to court, they denied it. Every time they took him to federal, they took him to they took him to all the courts of the land. They even took him to Supreme Court. And then in 1857, they finally went to federal court. And Judge, his name was Tenier, said to everybody in the court that Dred Scott was never free, not in a free state or a slave state, because of what? Status. His status kept him from being free. And it's the same situation with you today. Your status keeps you from being free. Status. He told him that it was his status, and they brought him into his jurisdiction, which is corporate America, and he remained a slave. And his so-called owner sold him to the owner before who had him at this time, back to his original owner, and his children came and bought him and didn't let him free like that. But he was still a slave because they always carried the name Dred Scott. When they looked at him, they know that he wasn't a European. He didn't come from England somewhere. You understand me? He wasn't from Africa. This is his land. Nobody came up with no slave boat. And you can't claim yourself to be African, because that's not the original name of a Cuban line. Those people that don't call themselves African, only for the media, these people have nationality. So what's yours? You claim your nationality, then you can claim your status. You can get your children off the birth certificate. You can stop paying taxes on your job. You can stop paying taxes on your home, and then you inherit it. Inheritance. You can inherit land. You inherit your wealth. You inherit your freedom. I don't care how much money you got. If you ain't got national powers of citizenship of Morocco, of this land, you're a corporate slave. That's why they tell you how much taxes you got to pay. And if you don't pay your taxes, what they do? They come take everything you got, right? Because of what? Your status. Status, jurisdiction, and adjudication. I, self-law, am master. I'm out.